Check out my brand new sound design course along with all of my samples and presets by using the links below. So a little overview. I was working on this just so I can get something going. Starts off like this with the piano. Just like simple, that was just kind of there. And then I threw this vocal in from Splice. Yeah, maybe I should take it slow. So we have the vocals, and then I have this chord progression. So it's just vocals, chords, and then there's a couple of other elements beneath this as well. So I'll probably just leave all of this stuff. I'm just going to leave that where it is. Just leave all like the break stuff in the intro. I'm going to leave that and then just work on some type of drop. I have an idea of what I want to do. I'm going to get some type of rhythm down first. So we'll get some drums. Put these drums down and then it's going to clap as well. Got any ideas? I don't have any. Probably use this vocal. Actually, let's get the bass line done first. Thinking like a square bass. I think I have one in here. These are all from Nitric. Where's like the square one? What did I call that? I like this. Maybe not. I'm thinking something punchy. Oh wait, this one maybe. Big side chain. So the bass line that I write here is actually not the final MIDI version of it, because you've probably seen before that I chop my MIDI up a lot when I'm making stuff, because it's just more, it's quicker that way. You don't have to go back into the playlist, and this is mainly to just get some type of idea down. So I just went across the entire bass line MIDI, chopped it up to what I thought sounded good, and then after that, when I'm making the song, that's when I make the more important arrangement or tweaks inside of the MIDI, when I actually chop it up inside of the playlist. Oh, I like that note. You hear that note? Not the note, but like that vocal hit. Put like a tiny amount of reverb on that too. So what I'm doing here inside of Nectar, which Nectar is an all-in-one vocal processing plugin, the reverb on the end, I'm automating that. So right before the drop, I'm cutting all of it out and it just sucks you into it and just puts you into like this room or something like that. And you'll notice it does make a big difference. So the reverb's on the entire intro and things like that. But right when that, like the last maybe 2 bars come, or like the last half bar, taking the reverb out, completely dry, and it just gives it this like sucking, really kind of freezes you up for a second. It's really cool. I have these like, they're like I have these like atmospheric things in one of these folders. Oh yeah. And we can brighten this up with some OTT. So we could just do like the extra side chain again. Again, as in like last video, I did that too. Okay, let's get some noise in there too. So putting white noise on the certain hits of your song is more so like if you think of like an acoustic drum set, like a real drum set, and you hit the crash cymbal, it's kind of what you're doing. That's how I see it, at least. So Avicii did this a lot. I mean, everyone really does this, where you put white noise on the first hit of the drop, or just throughout the drop, you can put it on certain hits just to make certain parts brighter and have more energy, so to say. So as simple as this little drop idea sounds right now, this is pretty much the main idea that went into the full entire drop, but it was just more so about finding the correct vocal chops. You'll see that this part and a lot of the stuff that I'm going to cut out, it was just tweaking things and just little automations and things like that that really put, you know, that extra 20% on, which made a big difference. Reverb automation, automate the wet. So the shaper box here is actually kind of what makes that chord part a little cooler, makes it more interesting to listen to, at least gives it that futuristic type of feel. Not now, but in the future. I'll go over it briefly just to show you guys what I did to give it more of that Don Diablo hexagon type of sound. Okay, so this is the revamped version of what you guys pretty much just saw me make. And honestly, like, everything is the same. Like, the same elements exist. So it's the vocal chops, this weird little synth section, which is like the B part. So we have the A part, which is more the vocal melodic. And then there's this weird... And I'm going to briefly go over everything of how, pretty much how it sounds and why it sounds that way. Let's see. I worked on it for a total of 8 hours. So I probably like 4 more hours of just fine tuning things. And this one was an interesting case because it wasn't like I was just adding more new things. It was more so I needed to just dial everything in just so it fit in the song, because there's really not that much happening here. It's just the vocal chops. It's that weird like hexagon futuristic type of part with the LFO, and then just a bass line and drums. I also sped it up a little bit too. I think it was at 126, and I think I put it to 130. I wanted to have like a quick feel to it when the drop came in. I think it gives it like a big room type of sounds. And if I put in these claps and hats, it just gives away some of the energy too quickly, in my opinion. Starting off with the vocal chops, these are pretty much the same, except I added a little melodic, not like a melodic line, but just I extended the vocal chops a little bit at the end. You'll hear it right here. So I really just chopped it up, extended it, and I just played along with the lead support melody as well. And then everyone's always asking what my vocal processing is, and I usually never show it because it's always the same exact thing, but it's just vocal synth 2. I have the format down and distortion on the analog setting, which that just sounds the best. Turn that tone up a little bit, just makes it super bright, drives it 7. So that's that. Room reverb, which I showed before. OTT, soothe, which this will just dampen it a little bit, make it a little easier on the ears. And then low cut. That's all it is. Has like a nice crispy full sound to it too. So I think that's turned out pretty good. The second part is, let's play it real quick. Kind of like a weird future-y Don Diablo type of thing. That's why I thought it was like Future Club. It sounds like Mike Williams a little bit with like the distorted vocal and like the kick, but this is more like a Don Diablo type of sound. So you guys saw me do Shaper Box on 1/8 note, I believe, and I eventually threw that into right here. So I have it going to, if you guys watch my Chainsmokers video, that's what I did here. So I just threw it into Hertz mode, automated the speed and the mix of it. That gave me full control of how fast it was. And then I just dialed that in by ear, which was good. And then I automated some volume as well right here. You guys can see maybe some extra sidechain and just a little bit of volume automation. And then after that, just a couple more layers. So this was the synth layer. This was a preset from Nitric. Then I bounced that out just so it's easier to process. So then I pitched that same sample up 12 right here, just to add like a sparkly layer to it. Doesn't really do that much, but underneath of that, so we have, let's see what this is real quick. So this is a nitric preset, like a Brooks preset, and I just used it to add a little bit of tonal variation. You can barely hear it. It's not really going with anything. It's in key, obviously, but it's just pitching slightly and just gives it this like it's almost like a little mini riser. I think it sounds cool. And then this one's going down. And one thing I forgot to mention is that shaper box, all the elements that you see here, so that little synth, the pitching synth, and then like everything else underneath that, that's all going to the same exact bus. So if I wanted to include anything else in that, I could just map it to that bus, and then it'll also get hit with that shaper box. The bass line has like a nice dirty feel to it. It's not too clean, it's not too dirty. And it's the same preset from before. This is the Friday Feels. That's from Nitric, not out yet. And then we got a nice top layer, which this is a bass one shot. Nice dirty bass one shot. And then, so this is a Respace sample from Nitric, and I'm just playing around with the pitch there as well. So once again, so these are pretty much just adding a lot of the top end, some more textural type of stuff. That's cool. And then just a couple of extra layers too. As far as the break goes, I did add some stuff. Gotta count to 10. Don't know if and then the build up, I put in this little vocoder, which I'm gonna dial this in a little bit more. Yeah, maybe I should take it slow. My body say yes. Not like the best idea, but you guys can see what I was trying to do, obviously. So that's pretty much it. It's not like that complex of an idea. It's more so just about the idea and how I process things and all that stuff. So here's the full playthrough. Gotta count to 10. Don't know if I wanna go through this again. Why am I even bothered? Gotta keep my head high above the water. That is what they said. Yeah, maybe I should take it slow. My body say yes. My head is saying no, no, no. What if I can let you go? My heart is saying yes. My head is saying no. Check out my brand new sound design course along with all of my samples and presets by using the links below.